So we'll be starting in another 2 minutes. Hi, Toastmaster Suraj.
Himani. Hi, Sinaman.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, Rajesh.
Hi, Toastmasters Suraj. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, everybody?
I'm good. Thanks for
Very
asking.
good. Hey, Manan, can you come on camera, please? Super. How are you?
Hello everyone, hi Himani. How are you guys?
Super. So we are live now. In another 1 minute, Toastmaster Seema, we can start. Hello, Toastmaster Adesh. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Super. Welcome.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Seema, we can start.
A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I, Seema Jared, Sergeant in Arms for the club, Weave to Leave Toastmasters, warmly welcome each one of you for 67th session of our club. Let's start with a big round of applause to create more energy and enthusiasm. Before we start the meeting, let me share some ground rules of the meeting. Firstly, please switch on your video to make this session more interactive and lively. Secondly, in Toastmasters, we use English as mode of communication. In case you're using any other language, please provide the translation. Thirdly, we do not talk about sex, religion, or politics, so please refrain yourself from all these things. In case you would like to speak, please raise the hands button on. Please keep yourself mute unless you're speaking. I would suggest please applaud loudly and enthusiastically to all our role players. In case you would like to speak, please raise your button and then speak. Please do not prompt the speaker by creating any kind of disturbance. Now, it's time for me to read the mission statement of the club, which is to provide positive and learning environment in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite our president, who is energetic and ever smiling, none other than DTM Himani Singh. Please join hands with me to warmly welcome her with a big round of applause. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Seema, for such a warm welcome. A very good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I
Good
want
evening.
everyone to unmute yourself and just say good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everybody.
Welcome. Welcome to the beautiful Wednesday evening. So I, Himani Singh, President of Weave to Lead Toastmasters Club, warmly welcome you all to 67th meeting of our club. Well, it is rightly said, a journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. In last 2 weeks, 4 new members have joined our club. So with thunderous round of applause, Let's first welcome Toastmaster Suraj. Can we just
Hello.
spotlight Suraj?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is
Hi.
Suraj. I am maths teacher by profession and work at Akash Institute. And my hobbies are sorry, I forget my hobbies. My hobbies are like exercising, yeah, or watching TV series, all that thing. And my interest is mathematics, especially solving problem in maths.
Okay. So the people who are weak in maths, so we can definitely approach Toastmaster Suraj.
Yes,
So I'll definitely, tell my siblings, my 9-year younger siblings, that please contact Toastmaster Suraj.
yeah, sure.
Welcome, Toastmaster Suraj. Welcome to
Thank
the
you,
club.
Imani. Thank you, everybody.
All right, now let's welcome another person, Toastmaster Mohit. Hi, Toastmaster Mohit.
Hi everyone, my name is Mohit and I'm from Jaipur. Uh, I like watching movies and playing badminton. Also like swimming, which is very relaxing for me. And if you like to know more about me, feel free to contact me, get in touch with me.
Okay. So basically, you want to expand the network, your network of people, right?
Yeah, I want to enhance my communication skills and also meet some new people and new network.
Okay. So you've landed to
Also,
a
yes,
exact. Okay.
yeah, and I'm a marine engineer by profession.
Super. So currently, do you work as well?
So right now I'm not working, so I'm on vacation.
Okay. All right. So welcome, Toastmaster Mohit. Now,
Thank you,
can
guys.
we have? All right. Now, can we have Toastmaster Adesh? He's
Good
also
evening, everyone. My name is Adesh. I am currently working as a chemistry lecturer with Akash Institute for NEET and JEE aspirants. I have been a part of Toastmasters in my college days. I've completed my competent leader manual already. And I'm also a part of another Toastmasters club, the Chandigarh Toastmasters Club, which have their meetings on Sunday. And I was so impressed by my first meeting with your club that I could not resist myself for joining it. And I hope we have a wonderful journey with everyone here. So thank you so much, President Himani, for the same.
Thank you. Can we have a big round of applause for all the 3 members? We're extremely happy that you have joined us, Toastmaster Adesh. It would definitely be a great learning experience for us. So welcome. Welcome, everyone. Now, do we have Arunima as well? Yes. So hi, Arunima. So we have our 4th member, Toastmaster Arunima, who has joined our club. Is it possible for you to unmute yourself? Well, let me give a small introduction of hers. She has been a Toastmaster also for 3 years. She works for a beauty brand as a finance analyst. Her hobbies includes traveling and reading. So welcome, Toastmaster Arunima. Welcome to the club. So we really wish that you enjoy this journey and become the better version of yourself. So with this note, I think we don't have any guests today. We have. Hi, Shri.
Hi, Toastmaster Himani, Shri this side, and I'm really sorry for turning off my camera.
Okay, are you a guest today or already a Toastmaster?
I'm a Toastmaster, visiting Toastmaster, you can say.
Okay. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Actually, as you already know, that my name is Shri, and I'm currently president for Delhi Junction Toastmasters Club. And I saw the poster of someone dropping in the VP Education group regarding the team mod orientation over here. So I thought of joining as I have some available time today.
Super. We'd love to
So
host
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Shri. Okay, so with this note, let me explain the structure of Toastmasters meeting. So the whole session is divided into 3 parts. First is the prepared speech section, wherein people come prepared with their speeches based on their pathways and the projects that they have chosen. After that, the best part arrives, wherein most exciting and fun part lies, which is the table topic session. So in this, topics will be given and speakers need to deliver an impromptu speech within 1 to 2 minutes. So in this, guests can also participate. Third is the evaluation session, wherein all the speakers and role players who will come on the stage will be evaluated. And this session will be led by GE and supported by the DAC team. So this is the regular format of any Toastmasters meeting. But today we are going to have a very special meeting in which we'll have the education module, DTM session, and at last the GE session. So let's start the education module with a question. You must have watched Bollywood Award Night. Who leads the complete event? You can just unmute yourself and just speak up.
The host.
Host. Okay. When I say Bollywood Award Nights, what person comes to your mind? Any person?
Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan. Okay. Kapil Sharma, right?
Sambal Sharma, comedians.
Manish Paul.
Yes, exactly. So Manish Paul is my favorite. So similarly, in any Toastmasters meeting, which is that one role player who leads the meeting or has a big responsibility to take the meeting forward? Who is that one role player out of all the role players that we have?
I think T-Mod.
Mod.
It's T-Mod, host, or MC of the meeting. So today our educational module is based on being an effective T-Mod. And in order to enlighten us, we have very dynamic, warm, kind-hearted DTM Abhijit Roy. He has been a Toastmaster for 4+ years and has worn several leadership hats during his tenure. And he has also been a Triple Crown awardee for 2 consecutive terms. So indeed, an inspiration for all of us. So with huge round of applause, let's welcome DTM Abhijit Roy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Himani, for that warm introduction. You have already set the tone by letting all the people know what exactly I'm going to be talking about. You didn't really make me feel that I should be keeping things as a surprise or a suspense for volunteers to come in and show. But anyways, having said that, today I really wouldn't be playing the role of the Toastmaster of the day or the T-Mod. Rather, I would be making sure that by the end of today's so-called small transversal session, we all understand how we can effectively play this role. Because in every Toastmasters meeting, what we ideally do is we have an individual taking up that leadership role of stepping up, coming up with a theme, and then talking about it. Toastmaster Himani just mentioned, it is just not about the host. It is just not about a person who conducts or carries the entire meeting on his or her shoulders. It's not just about an MC. It's even beyond that. So how we all can become effective Toastmasters of the day is something that I'm going to be sharing today. But let me ask you a question, although a few members have already answered that, but still I will be going forward and asking you the same question all over again to make sure that I am convinced, but by the question that I have asked. And that is, how many of you feel that taking the role of the Toastmaster of the day kind of makes you an effective leader? How many of you feel that? Himani has a raise of hand. Mohit. Okay, Adesh, Rajesh. Suraj has also raised his hand. We have Manan raising his virtual hand. All right. Shri is also just plugged in. So most of you feel that taking off the role of the Toastmaster of the day kind of makes you an effective leader. But if you listen to me carefully, I missed out something. Was it intentional or was it unintentional? Something that you will be able to find out in the due course. And that is, when you take up the role of the Toastmaster of the day, you speak, right? You will not be dumb. You'll not be staying quiet. You'll be speaking. You'll be talking. You'll be connecting with the audience. In a way, you speak up. Your verbal and non-verbal communication comes forward. So why didn't I really mention this line that taking up the role of Toastmaster of the day can make you an effective communicator? Why did I start off by asking this question? How many of you feel that taking this role will make you an effective leader? Any answers?
Take the meeting forward.
Okay, to take the meeting forward. Any more?
Because he is the torch bearer of the complete.
Okay, that's also right, Himani. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Yes, like in remote role, we have to prepare lots of things. Like we have to invite evaluators, speakers, and we have to also prepare our own theme.
Correct.
And
so I will. Okay, any more responses? Seema, you had something to share?
I want to add one thing.
As a leader, it's his or her role is to take the team along with it.
Okay.
And to make the session more interactive and lively and make it more interesting for everyone in the group.
Perfect. Manan, you had something that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that, with all of these things that Team One needs to do, he also need to pass on certain information to the club members that are there, right? So he's supposed to come up with a theme and bind that theme as into the different sections of the meeting, right? So that everything just comes together with one particular theme.
Okay. So each one of you had your own version and are correct in your own ways. And that's absolutely to the point that Toastmasters of the day or of the evening, probably a lot of people even do say that, TMOE, is the prime reason that you have the control command or the ownership of hosting that particular segment of the meeting. Like for every meeting that comes up, you know that the set principles are at the point that you have prepared speeches, you have table topics, and then you have speech evaluations. But then who's that one person who completely starts off from the start till the end? It's the Toastmaster of the day. It's the host. It's the master of ceremonies. It's the MC. Lot of definitions are tagged to this particular role. In a way, what does that individual does? He or she doesn't really speak up. It's even beyond that. It means that individual is playing a dual role, not just being a good communicator, an effective communicator, but also taking up the entire ownership to make sure that meeting is run successfully. And hence, your true leadership qualities comes up when you take up this role. I will share a component of what exactly I have written. And this is exactly my version. Of course, picture and the slides are picked up from Toastmasters International. But a few things which I felt can be relatable, and that is where I come from. So the Toastmaster of the day role is for all of us to understand that he or she is the meeting's director and host, directing each and every segment and ensuring that the meeting runs successfully. For running the meeting successfully, the roles has to be filled in. And how can it be effectively filled in is through a close coordination between the vice president education of the club as well as the Toastmaster of the day, because the team mod or the Toastmaster of the day will have to tag himself or herself with the VP education to understand who takes in what role. That is extremely important. I just cannot say if I have taken up the role that, okay, everything will be served on my plate readily by the VP education. That's not going to happen, because then you are just not doing anything. Why a Toastmaster of the day role is also called as a master of ceremonies, because you are mastering it. It's a function, it's a ceremonial occasion, and you're hosting it. You're making sure that everybody attending that meeting, everybody attending that conference, or everybody attending any function are with you. They are enjoying. So how can you make that even more lively, even more enjoyable, even more learning oriented? Is through the way of taking that initiative. That individual also works with the general evaluator to ensure that all club participants knows their roles and responsibilities. A lot of time we kind of miss this aspect of the role of the Toastmaster of the day. We believe, yes, I've taken up the role. I will probably have to reach out to the speakers to get the speech titles, a normal introduction, and a say on the theme that I choose. Is that enough? Well, a lot of people do believe that that's good enough, and meeting roles are played. But when this session is all about to become an effective Toastmaster of the day, I repeat, effective Toastmaster of the day, which is the keyword effective, is when you go out of the box to do something beyond, to make sure that people remember you as the role player that you played in a specific meeting. That, oh, Himani or Aman or Manan or Suraj or Ritesh, somebody played this role of the Toastmaster of the day that particular day. How can that happen? Is through the way of making every particular aspect of the meeting effective. Not just playing the role for the sake of playing it. You also will have to make sure that the speakers are introduced properly. Try to get a crisp introduction of the speakers. Be to the point and be uniform for all the speakers. Because a lot of time, suppose, for example, I come up as a Toastmaster of the day and I ask, Toastmaster Himani, can you share your introduction? She probably may be sharing a 5-liner. Then I go up to the second speaker for the meeting, Toastmaster Ritesh. I ask him for his introduction. He may just probably share about a couple of lines. Then I even go to Toastmaster Suraj. He has a detailed story to narrate and he gives me a big paragraph. As a Toastmaster of the day, it's my responsibility to make sure that all the introductions of the respective speakers and the role players are kept uniform. Uniform in the way name, probably your hobbies, and what differentiates you. You can, if you want to pick up the say on the theme by the respective speakers, you can do that. That's well appreciated. But then uniformity is something that we all have to ensure while we take up this role. A lot of times, I would say 80 to 90% of the times, as role bearers who are taking up the role of team mod, do not emphasize on this particular aspect. If you're being short, crisp, precise, and to the point with uniformity, you save time, you ensure that everybody understands the flow of the introduction that you make. And then finally, people can look up to you for future roles that they wish to take. So you become an idol for a lot of people who are present in this meeting. Finally, to ensure smooth transition between the speakers and any other roles that are being taken in during the club meeting, which is a key element of time management. Something that I will of course talk about in the second slide. A Toastmaster of the day wears multiple hats. A few of the particular aspects that we have already just talked about. The TMOD role is something in which he or she is an event planner. VP Education will be giving a skeleton or a draft of how he wants a particular meeting to be. But then it is ownership of the TMOD who takes up and makes sure that he or she does this role of an event planner. So he or she have to be good in event management. How the speakers are going to be called upon. How much time do we have to give to each role bearer? How much time will I have to speak if I am the TMOD on the specific theme, so that there is no erosion or there's no elapse of time. At the same time, second point is the tour guide. What does exactly this means is you all are seated as audience members. For a moment, just for a moment, realize this fact that this is not a workshop. This is not an educational session. Rather, I am the Toastmaster of the day. Okay, I am playing the role of TMOD and you all are members. This is my session. What exactly I'm doing? I am taking you for a lesson or lessons learned or something through a session where I'm trying to share my opinion, my views, and my learnings on a specific topic or agenda or role. So what happens is I am taking everyone on a tour of a process of learning, of understanding, of making sure that when you take up that role, you play it effectively. Have you gone through any of the, you can say, most of you would have gone for vacations. A lot of people plan their own itinerary. A lot of people feel that, oh, I will probably go ahead and search everything, make my own itinerary through Google, and they go along. What exactly you do? You prepare a tour guide, a physical tour guide, probably when you reach the venue because you have gone through an agent, or Google is one of your tour guide. Something that helps you, aids you to fulfill the desire, the final outcome of having a good, successful vacation. That is exactly the tour guide does. You consider it Google, you consider any of the agents, travel agents. Similarly, in a particular meeting also, the Toastmaster of the day is a tour guide for all the members who are present in the meeting. Members, when I say, both Toastmasters as well as guests, whoever are part of the audience. I'm making sure that everybody understands why exactly I'm standing there. For what is the purpose? What is going to be the outcome? What does exactly this mean? This kind of means that there is proper engagement with me as an individual, with the audience who is sitting around me. When I started off, I asked a couple of questions and you all answered. Then I also asked an open and a rhetorical question, and I wanted to check how many of you do feel the same. A few of you raised your hands, correct? So what exactly I'm trying to do is just not a one-sided conversation. Rather, I am ensuring that it becomes a both-way communication between the individual and the audience who is sitting right in front of me to listen to me, to understand what exactly I am here to share or to offer. So kind of audience engagement is extremely important for this particular role to be executed. You cannot keep it a one-sided approach, because then towards a certain amount of time, which gets elapsed, the audience starts to lose interest, because this is a human psychology that even today, if I am just talking, you all will be hearing, because both your ears are open. But what is really happening is you are just hearing, you are not listening. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Because all your ears are open, you are hearing, but you're not listening, which means that the message is properly not going across to you. To make sure that you implement that message by attending and devoting time that you have given today. So that audience engagement is extremely important for this particular role to be an effective role that is being played. And finally, an efficient administrator. What does any administration person does? Anybody, let me ask you. This is probably not even directly relatable to Toastmasters, but in general, what do you think? And what any administration person would be doing in an organization, in a corporate setup, or in a college, or anywhere? Anyone?
I think he just makes sure that every department is running smoothly, like whatever the needs are, he can just fulfill them, and there are no issues within departments.
Okay.
Logistical. Yeah.
Anybody else?
He or she manages. Yeah. He or she manages the documentation part. Administrator.
It's right, Himani. Documentation is just one element of it. That's right. Anybody else?
He or she provides a complete.
Sorry.
Okay, Adesh, you can go in first.
Yeah, sure. The thing is that he or she provides a complete managerial overview of the organization. So from documentation, as Himani mentioned, to even looking after employees, and everything is more smooth functioning. So that is his main criteria there.
Yeah, so if I may understand, Adesh, from your perspective, the people who are in finance, the people who are part of human resources, the people who are actually part of IT and administration, they're all part of the overall system, because everybody is administering the kind of work that has to be done in an effective way, right? Okay, Rajesh, your viewpoint?
Yeah, like if any kind of a barrier or problem comes, the administrator that corrects or find the good way of that problem or barrier.
Okay, that's right. Mohit, you have anything to share?
Yeah, I think I've got one last point.
Okay, please.
No, you can go ahead, please.
Okay. So, an effective administrator works with all people and effectively so that everyone can work together and complete the task, whatever they have.
Okay, great. Shri, if you're there, if I can have you on the camera and if you can share what is exactly your views on this, would be great.
Sure. Sorry for the camera thing, but I can repeat the which I noted. So my answer is that the backhand person who is responsible for smooth functioning, and it is the person who caters to the services to the users or the customers, we can say. But mainly, it's a person for me who works in the backhand rather than coming in the upfront.
Okay. Sujay, you have raised your hand. Can I have your opinion as well?
I would say the overall administration is to ensure the efficient and also in a smooth functioning of the entire department, of the entire organization per se.
Perfect. So the crux of everyone having a common message, administrator, is that how you manage the show, how you manage the different activities. So what do you think? A Toastmaster of the day doesn't do that. In every meeting, you're managing the entire meeting. You're running the show. You're making sure that members are getting the best experience when they come on. It is all up to you to also make a difference for the guests to get converted into members. Don't you think that is also a very important aspect of this role? If you are a person who doesn't really have the character or the passion to create a vibe, a positive vibe, an interesting vibe, or you are not passionate or very enthusiastic about creating an environment around you to make sure that the audience who are part of guests, members have already got converted. But then if guests come in, they have a goal, they have a purpose in mind. If they see the the glory in your eyes as a Toastmaster of the day, they will also have a sense to come in again. Probably the next time when they come in, they're already converted into members. So this is also very important for this role to be played effectively. Hence, the administration role played by any individual also adds on to this particular role to be an effective Toastmaster of the day. Until now, it's all clear. All right. So how can you be effective? I hope everybody can see the screen. How you can be more effective? Number one, and which is very important, theme. Why do we choose a theme? Why? Why do you think that a Toastmaster today always comes up with a theme? What is the basic reason? Anyone? Okay, Himani, go ahead.
There should be a theme because it binds the complete session. All the people.
Okay.
Guests.
Ritesh.
Yes, I have
People
2 points
get
to
food
mention.
for thought. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Himani. I kind of apologies. I kind of cut you short, but you continuing. But anyways, got the message. So Ritesh, what's from your side?
Yeah, I just have 2 points to mention. Like, first of all, to give a new information to the audience as something a new which they don't have heard before, and the second one is to explain and research about that topic. What you have, what you are best at.
Okay, perfect. Shri, what is your take?
I would say that to the purpose of the meeting, what's the motive of the meeting generally? Like we are meeting to discuss this topic or theme.
Okay, to an extent, it's there, purpose of the meeting, but then most importantly, Adesh, I'll give it a pass, and Manan, you also, if you have specifically raised your hands for this purpose, we'll again have a few others which wherein we can plug you. But most importantly, and this is nothing right or wrong, this is just about my own belief, and that's what it is. Whenever anyone hosts or conducts a session, it is not about that individual mastering the art of particular conducting that session. It's about what that individual feels. So similarly, even today, the reason I feel personally why theme is important and it has to be a very eye-catchy kind of a thing is only because the audience connect. Yes, information that you pass on to the audience can be new, means it can be invented for the members to understand of what you want to share because it is completely new for them, or it can be in a form of a discovery. What I exactly mean is, what today I choose the theme could be a complete new information for members to absorb, or a new version, a different version of something which already they know. So if I talk about internet, all right, everybody knows about internet. right? What is internet all about? What it does, the pros and cons. But then suppose if I talk, this was a vague title theme, of course, do not have to really think about much about it. But suppose if I talk something which we do not discuss commonly about internet, then it becomes interesting for people to understand. Because day in and day out, you, me, or any one of us in this room probably wouldn't have discussed about internet in a way where the Toastmaster of the day brings in that change or bringing in something new, which is a discovery. We know about internet, we do not know A to Z of internet. Are you getting my point here? So it can be completely a new topic, or it can be something which is existing, but something which you feel the audience may not know, and you have done enough research and analysis on that to make sure that people can be glued to your says, and hence you can connect well with them. So to be an effective role player, try to choose a theme which is relatable to the larger mass. Just don't limit. If you are in a corporate setup, try to have a topic which probably relates to the something which is relates to the corporate culture. If you're part of community club, try to have something which is relatable to the larger mass, larger audience. If you become very specific to a specific, you can say, set of public, then there are a lot of other people who may not be feeling interesting to hear about your theme. So if I talk about budget, if I talk about Bitcoins, I may not be interested in Bitcoins. People who are investors, people who like to invest in stocks, in having mutual funds, they might be interested, but not me. So what happens is I lose interest in this. But if you choose how Bitcoin can make a difference in everybody's life, and you start giving explanations how Bitcoin can be impactful in probably a street side vendor, a service person, a businessman, to anyone, or a freelancer, then everybody starts hearing you out to understand how, oh my goodness. So this Bitcoin theme or the subject is just not related to people who are just investors. I need to hear how I can get beneficial by listening to this. So that, create that kind of vibe, create that kind of an environment, create that theme which relates to all. And that's how you will be able to be effective in the role of that you play. Audience engagement. We discussed that before. It is very important to have a good audience connect or engagement throughout, starting from where you started till the end of the meeting, when you hand over the baton or the stage back to the presiding officer to conclude. Until then, every bit that you take in on the physical platform or the virtual setup, the audience connect or engagement is extremely necessary so that your role can be defined as effective. The first was a theme, choosing the right theme. Second was the audience engagement, time management. Meeting is from 4 to 6, right? Now I keep speaking. I keep talking, and the meeting ends at 6:45. 45 minutes elapsed. What do you think? The next time people would be keen to hear you? Answer is no. Time management is a key factor which not just plays an important role in any Toastmaster meeting, but elsewhere as well. Everywhere we need to respect time. So we will have to be to the point. We will have to be crisp. We will have to be effective in the kind of communication that we make, and to the point. What is the message How are we planning to engage the audience through the way of the theme that we choose? All these things have to be structured well, and then time management is something that you will have to take care of. Content balance. Have you seen members taking up the role, talking about the theme before the prepared speech for 15 minutes, and then during the entire course, before the table topics or before the general evaluation cycle, just speaking for 1 minute or 2 minutes? Have you seen people taking up the role and doing that way? I have personally seen it. Members take up the role, they get so excited to take up that responsibility of the Toastmaster of the day, and they continue to speak. First 10 minutes are just about the theme. They even forget that they will have to call the prepared speakers. And when they see that their time elapsed before the table topics, they just about have 1 minute to talk on the theme. Before the general evaluation, they just have about a minute or two to talk on the theme. Similarly, before the end, they just about have 1 minute, because the balance of the entire content was not properly maintained. So if you have to make sure that people stay with you, people are with you throughout for the role that you're playing, then you have to balance. I have my stage time of 15 minutes. So 5 minutes I'm going to talk at the very first moment. Before the table topics, I'm going to be talking about 3 minutes. After table topics, again, I have to be talking about 2 minutes. Before the general evaluation, again, another 3 minutes. And towards the end, 2 minutes. So you're kind of balancing your stage presence. People don't really get bored. Otherwise, I'm going to be seeing a very similar kind of phase from start, and all of a sudden Abhijit disappears. It doesn't work that way. And if you look at a good MC, if you talk about a real good MC, if you talk about all these Filmfare awards that you see, what do you normally see? Every person who kind of is a good entertainer knows how to balance his or her stage time. This is a very important element, and mind it, the next time you play this role, have a proper balance. Make a plan how you're going to talk and how much you're going to talk in what particular segment, if you have to be effective. Because whatever you are sharing with the audience members have to grab. They will have to really adapt to the concept, to the message that you are trying to share. If you talk too much in the first 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes, and the next time that you take on the stage, you just about talk about 2 minutes, members will not be able to relate to the theme or to the topic or to the message that you are trying to share. So this is important. Picturization, props, and activities. This is again directly relatable to audience engagement. But in this virtual setup, if we keep speaking, people will not get entertained. So sometimes slides, sometimes I make you do some activities. If it is in a physical meeting, probably close your eyes or stand up on your own physical place, dance or sing or do something. What happens? People kind of gets rejuvenated, isn't it? People feel that excitement. Oh, something is going to come. It may not be directly related to the theme. Mind it, a lot of times okay, I will be talking about mindfulness. I might talk about yoga. So it does not mean that you will ask people to sit on the virtual setup and start doing yoga. You can probably ask people to just close your eyes for a couple of minutes, think about something which will make you feel calm and composed. That's an activity, right? What you're trying to do is probably, let's all have coffee, let's all have tea. And what you do is show a glass, show a cup. People feel, oh, we're going to start the meeting with a cup of coffee. Interesting, right? Or a picturization. What makes the meeting today going to be very special? It's going to be very hot outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this remote and switch on the AC. What are you doing? You're doing nothing. You're just creating a sense. You're creating a vibe to start off with your theme, with your role. You're actually playing the role of an MC. Have you seen that? A lot of MCs, you talked about Manish Paul. sometimes his comments, sometimes the kind of statements that he makes are totally vague. People will say, oh, what kind of comments he's making? But then still a lot of people, the audience members, laughs at his comments because he's a true entertainer. He sometimes makes self-deprecating humor on himself. He makes a mockery out of himself itself. Have you gone through that? How Manish Paul entertains everyone. And that is how his role as an MC is even more lively whenever he takes on that stage. So it is not necessary that always you take up a theme, be very serious, be very particular about taking up the role and doing it. Sometimes creating that positive environment, making use of some props, letting people do some activities also makes your role even effective. Towards the end, this of course brings, this kind of demonstrates that I'm going to be heading towards the end of the session. But if you are going to be playing the role of the Toastmaster today, what is that key differentiator in you that would probably make all the difference from the previous role players that have taken up this role, is something that you will have to figure out. I'm not saying that you start differentiating yourself or trying to make yourself even more superior with the other individuals who have played the role, but something which you can take it up and make sure that people are connected and people remember your session at least for the next couple of months. That's how your effectiveness will actually be demonstrated. You wouldn't really see this, but whenever I kind of have any workshop that I host or I conduct, I normally do not anything theoretical. I don't go by the books. I don't go by key messages which is shown, because this is something that we can all read. We can look from our eyes and then adapt it. But why people come up to me for even more sessions is about the practicality. What I have witnessed, what I have experienced, and what I share. That's my lessons learned. Similarly, whenever you take up this role, if you, in order to make the role even more effective, have some mantras, have some bullets points, so that you ensure that you just don't take up the role very lightly. This is a very important role and it's going to help you to be an effective leader. First, of course, you are going to communicate. Communication is something that will be there as part of the role that you're playing as a Toastmaster today. But more than that, you are able to understand the role as in the form of a leadership platform. And when you start seeing people follow you and make you as an idol for taking up roles in the future, you have proved them that you are an effective leader. You have been able to play that role so effectively that people are now reaching out to you for guidance, for support. So if you have not faced it, face it now. Be an effective Toastmaster of the day. Make sure that the next time you take up this role, either in this club or anywhere, or even if you go beyond Toastmaster, if you take up the role of MCs or host, make sure that people remember you as a true entertainer. Entertain does not mean just bringing in humor or making people laugh, but to make people stay connected from the start till the end. And that's how this role is going to be played effectively. I would really go ahead and thank President Toastmaster Himani for the wonderful opportunity, most importantly, having the trust on me to host this session and share all my learnings and the best practices that I've been following so far until now. And I hope that everyone will have some components picked up from the slides so that they can take up the role effectively from the next time. I will anyways be sharing the slide with Himani and she can share it across with the group and other Toastmasters of the club and beyond. But if you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me at any point of time. I'll be more than happy to guide. I'll be more than happy to share my opinion at any point of time. Thank you so much again. And back to you, Toastmaster Himani, to take it meeting ahead.
Master. Wow, what a great session we had today. Thank you. I think you have picked up the right pain points of Toastmaster, of T-Mod actually. Thank you for enlightening us and conducting such an insightful session. And thank you for sparing such your valuable time for us. So can we have a big round of applause for him again? If anybody has a question, so please you can post, you can speak now. Does anybody have question? Otherwise, you can reach him out offline. Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit, once
I
again.
have one question for TM
Yeah.
Abhijit. So TM Abhijit, my question is it necessary to add some fun every time when we take the team mode role? Or it can be interesting without the fun element? Like how do we define interesting and fun? Like how do we differentiate it?
So as I said, Manan, and this question is common to each one of you who will be taking up this role probably in the future, is that when you talk about the term called interesting, doesn't really mean that you will have to bring in elements of humor, or you will have to make sure that people laugh at the activities, or make interesting means about engagement. See, what happens is in real life, I conducted this session. And what did the rest of the 10 members did? They heard me. They listened to each word statement and they absorbed, they grabbed the message. So it's not just a sender, it's also about the receiver. If you all are silent spectators, if you weren't there with me, I wouldn't have been able to convince myself as a good communicator. Similarly, whenever you take this role, it is how well you communicate. Doesn't really mean that you will have to make sure that people laugh, people smile, people cry, or people do an act. It is all about to create that environment, to create that vibe in which you are convinced that the entire audience are actually investing the time at the right place for the right person and at the right time. These three things are very important, because if I go ahead and spare my 2 hours of time in a Toastmasters meeting, by the end of the session of the role that you are playing today as a Toastmaster day, I as an audience member should be convinced enough that no matter what, Manan was perfect. I really learned a lot. So time well invested. It could be in the form of anything, but make sure that you are also in a position to convince yourself that yes, you have learned by able to have a convincing role. You have taken up the leadership to make sure that yes, it was just not a role that I played, but also to make sure that yes, I have been able to manage the entire meeting single-handedly. So once you are convinced about your own, you are convinced about the people who are there with you in that room or in that setup, you have done it all.
Thank you, TM Abhijit.
I think Toastmaster Manan, you have asked a very apt question. Thank you. Thank you for that. Anybody? All right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhijit, for sparing your valuable time for us. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Okay. Now we can move to our next section. So let's introduce the general evaluator. Well, our general evaluator is known for his calm and composed demeanor. He is the VPPR. So let me invite very exuberant Toastmaster Manan for his introduction.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Himani, and thank you, DTM Abhijit, for the fantastic session. And thank you, PM Himani, for calling me onto the stage. Hello, everybody. I'm Manan Sharma, and today I've been bestowed with the responsibility to be the general evaluator of today's meeting. So as a general evaluator, my role would be to analyze the whole meeting from start to end from my perspective and come up with certain points that I really liked about the meeting, and also help you all to make certain improvements by giving my thoughts and my opinion and my comments, so that next time when we meet together, the meeting is on to the next level. Since it's a very big responsibility, I do not come alone. I've got my tag team tagged with me. So I'm gonna call each one of them one by one on stage, and they'll introduce their role for today. So first of all, I would like to invite our latest addition into the group, our very own R counter, TM Suraj. So TM Suraj, please come onto the stage and explain us your role for today.
Hi everybody, good evening, dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. I will be playing the role of AS counter today. So just imagine you are on a date with your girlfriend or boyfriend, like, and she proposes you or he proposes you, right? And you stunt, like, instead of saying yes or no, you just say ah, ooh, like you are giving strange reactions. So what do you think? What would be happens to the person who has proposed to you? For sure, I think he or she will lose the confidence, right? So similarly, that happens when you take poses, you use filler words, use crutch words, and repeat your sentences, right? So the speaker will lose confidence, and like the, the structure of speech is disturbed while you are speaking while you are giving the speech, right? So try to avoid crutch words and repeated sentence, and be clear, and take a proper pause whenever it's required. And I will evaluate all the speakers and give my report at the end. That's from all my side. Back to you, general evaluator.
Thank you, our counter, TM Suraj, for explaining your role in such a nice manner. Before I call upon other tag team members, I would request everybody to please come onto the camera so that we can have a group picture of the evening. And I would request TM Ritesh to please take the group picture with all the smiling faces. And I think TM Abhijit, every time when we take a group picture, we make certain poses. Okay, so this time, since you were the torch bearer of the meeting, so I would request you to suggest us some pose that we can do in our group.
I mean, I'm really bad at that. Of course, I just hosted a session, but you made me fall into into a difficult trap. But we all can probably just be at our ease. I think any pose that we make.
This can work. Yes.
Okay.
Because I think Suraj is doing the Pushpa style. Pushparaj.
Yeah.
Pushparaj. Okay.
It's 3, 2, 1. Play. Thank you, everyone. Back to general evaluator.
Thank you so much, TM Ritesh. Since you have got your mic open, I would request you to please come onto the stage since you are the timer of the day and explain us your role for tonight.
Yes. Thank you, general evaluator, for calling me on the stage. Very good evening to all our Toastmasters and guests. Today, I'll be playing the role of timer, and we all know how time plays an important role in our life, so as does in this meeting. We all feel very good when things happen on time. Let it be when the train arrives at time and we reaches our destinations on time. So like this, we all should be try to make our speeches, try to make our evaluations at the particular time. So as we don't have the speakers for today's meeting, we have the table topic speaker sessions and the evaluation part. So for table topic speakers, we have a limit of minimum limit of 1 minute. And for 1 minute, I'll be showing the green card. And for 1 minute 30 seconds, I'll be showing the yellow card. And for 2 minutes, I'll be showing the red card. So, and for the evaluation part, for the auxiliary role pairs, it will be the same. You have we have to speak for at least 1 minute. I'll be showing the green card, and for 1 minute and 30 seconds, I'll be showing the yellow card, and for 2 minutes, I'll be showing the red card. So I'll all the best to all the speakers and evaluation part. Let's try to be on time. Thank you. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you so much, TM Ritesh, for the descriptive description of your role. Now moving ahead to the next tag team member, that is the grammarian of the day. And today, grammarian of the day is TM Sujoy. So TM Sujoy, please tell us about your role for today.
Yeah, am I clear? Hello. Yeah, is my voice audible? I'm having a network issue here. Yeah. Good evening and also dear guests. I'm the grammarian of the day, and a word of the day is a nemesis. It means when your biggest enemy and your arch rival. And the example of this usage will be the fear of facing an audience is the nemesis of every public speaker and of every Toastmaster. Synonyms are 1 minute. Synonyms are a foe, or a long-standing rival. So, and I request everyone, please use a word of the day and to also acknowledge its usage with a thumbs up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, TM Sujoy. I'm very sure that we do not have any nemesis here in the group. We all are friends and we do love supporting each other. So now coming to the last listener. So I'm going to call upon stage active listeners for today, TM Rajesh.
Thank you, Journal Evaluator, for inviting me on stage. So today I will going to do role as an active listener. So as an active listener, I will note interesting tidbits of information from any of the speakers, and I will going to ask questions near the end of the meeting to see if everyone was paying attention or not. So near the end of the meeting, I will going to ask a very interesting question from you. So over to you, Journal Evaluator.
Thank you so much, TM Rajesh, for telling us about your role today. So this was my tag team, and along with all of my super powerful hands and supportive team, I'm gonna come back at the end of the meeting with our respective report, and we'll see what went good and what could have been improved. So back to you, President Himani, and please take the meeting forward.
Mr. Manan, for the wonderful introduction.